Are you someone that is lucky enough to have a pension? A lot of pensions have gone away, but they're not all gone. And you might be someone that still has one. And you may be wondering, what is this really worth to us in our retirement plan? I met with a couple recently, and he's going to have a pension of $40,000 a year. And they wanted to know, what is it worth to them and how does it impact their plan? Now, often when we start the retirement planning, we don't have all the details yet. We don't have the full tax picture yet. And so we're filling in some gaps. But an easy thing to do is to say, well, how much do you have saved? And if we apply the 4% safe withdrawal rate to that, here's kind of the range of what we would expect you would be taking from your accounts. So if someone had $1 million and we applied the 4% safe withdrawal rate to that, then they would be taking $40,000 a year. That's the same amount as this couple's $40,000 pension. But they're not apples to apples, because under that safe withdrawal rate, we assume that you're going to be increasing the income for inflation over time, whereas most pensions don't increase. It's set at the beginning and then it stays the same. And that's the case with this couple's pension. So their $40,000 is going to still be $40,000 in 20 years. Whereas if we had gotten 3% inflation, the $40,000 that we're taking from $1 million account would become $70,000 in 20 years. The difference gets even bigger beyond that. So in 30 years, instead of having that same $40,000, the amount coming from the investment account would be $94,000. So we see that there's a gap that gets created over time, and that gap is the money that you're needing to have in order to keep up with what it's costing you for your lifestyle. It's not extra money for other things. That's $70,000 in 20 years or $94,000 in 30 years. That's what you would need to have in order to have the exact same lifestyle if we have a 3% inflation rate. And so if you have a pension, it is worth a lot, but it's not worth having $1 million in the bank. It's probably more like $500,000 to $600,000. You have a lot of value in that, yes. And it's money that is going to come in. You're not going to outlive it. It can last for as long as your spouse is living. But you also need to have a bucket of money that is going to cover the gap, that is going to be there for you to take out the money you need to cover the inflation part of that future income. So that each year you can take a little out and it grows over time. And so in the 20th year, when you need $70,000 instead of $40,000, you take $30,000 out of this account. And in the 30th year, when you need $94,000 instead of $40,000, you take $54,000 out of the account. And you've done that each and every year. It turns out to be about, if we assume that we're going to have 3% inflation, it turns out to be about $500,000 instead of $1.2 million of income. $40,000 a year for 30 years is $1.2 million. Then it's $1.9 million. $40,000 a year growing at 3% each year over that 30 years is a total of $1.9 million. And so you want to have the ability to keep up with inflation. You want to make sure that you can always cover your lifestyle. And so that's part of the analysis that you would look at when you're looking at how the pension impacts you and what you need to do with your other funds. And then beyond that, you want to think about the legacy part of it, because the pension is likely not going to leave anything to your heirs. Sometimes you can have it go for a short number of years, maybe 10 years. Most people are going to live past that. It can last as long as you're living, as long as your spouse is living, but then you want to have other money that you're going to be leaving to your heirs if you have a legacy goal. And so those are some things to think about. The pension is worth a lot to you, but make sure that you're doing the other planning that you need to do, that you can be always on your best path, cover all of your expenses, maintain your lifestyle throughout your retirement.